Big Body God did it again. You woke up on the right side of the dirt, so let's give God a praise. This is John Lakin and Friends. What's up, everybody? This is your boy, John Lakin, and welcome to John Lakin and Friends. Welcome to John Lakin and Friends. We're so excited that you decided to join in and praise God with us. We're about to lift up a praise that says, for the rest of my life, I'll serve the Lord.
Anybody got a made-up mind for the rest of your life you're going to serve the Lord? Here we go. Here you go. Come on, let's go. I hope you know it. Come on, everybody help me say, for the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, I'll serve him. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, I'll trust him. I'll trust him. For the rest of my life, I'll serve him. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, I'll trust him. I'll trust him. Because he's been so good. Been so good to me. Oh, set me free for the rest of my life. Come on, let's say it again. Everybody say, for the rest of my life, I'll serve him. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, I'll trust him. I'll trust him. For the rest of my life, I'll serve him. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life, for the rest of my life, I'll trust the Lord. Trust him. Because he's been so good. Been so good to me. Oh yeah. Set me free for the rest of my life. I'll serve. Come on, let's say it again. Hold the music. For the rest. For the rest of my life. I'll serve. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. I'll trust him. I'll trust him. For the rest. For the rest of yeah. I'll serve him. For the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. I'll trust him. I'll trust him. Because he's been so good. Been so good to me. Oh yeah. Set me free for the rest of. Come on, here we go. Let's take it out to the drive. I'll serve the Lord. 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 I got a made-up mind. I'll serve the Lord. That I serve the Lord. I'll serve the Lord. I got a made-up mind. I'll serve the Lord. That I'll serve the Lord. I'll serve the Lord. Yeah. I'll serve the Lord. I'll serve the Lord. Because he's been real good. I'll serve the Lord. Anybody know he's been good? I'll serve the Lord. Anybody know he's been good? I'll serve the Lord. Anybody know he's been good? I'll serve the Lord. Anybody know he's been good? I'll serve the Lord. 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 Yeah. I'll serve the Lord.
My name is Betty Spells Price. I'm the president and CEO of Carver Construction and Design Incorporated, a general contracting and construction management firm located in the heart of Columbia, South Carolina. Our clients include educational facilities, religious institutions, retail establishments, administrative buildings, and so much more. We specialize in creating beautiful spaces with functionality and community at the heart. As God blesses us, we bless others. Our dream is to make your dream come true. Carver is the one-stop shop for all of your construction needs.
Dr. Howard Thurman, 20th century theologian and one of the mentors of Martin Luther King Jr. and the Civil Rights Movement, was once quoted as saying, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it." Because what the world needs more than anything else is people who've come alive. When I think about that, my first thought is to think about the book of Acts. Because people who've come alive, to me, are the people who go out into God's world and make a difference in that world. And there are two characteristics of those people who have been made alive. They've been empowered by the Spirit for two things. Number one, they grow comfortable being uncomfortable. As you go through the book of Acts, as you get to the end, you realize that there are these momentous moments throughout the book, all of these accomplishments, all of these great things. And it all comes back to one thing: men and women who are willing to not sit in their comfort, but to move in their calling. And for that reason, they become these world changers, if you will. But then the second characteristic is probably just as important. No one is perfect. These people that Howard Thurman talks about, these people who have become alive, are not perfect people, are not people who don't have issues, are not people who don't have problems. But these people don't allow their vulnerabilities, they don't allow their fears, and they don't allow their failures to dictate their journey. They bring these vulnerabilities, they bring these failures, and they bring these fears, and those things become the cracks in their lives, whereby the grace of God comes in and transforms these people. But at the end of the day, it comes back to this important thing as we look to be motivated this very week. And it's simply this, that if we want to be the people that God has called us to be in this world, making the difference that He calls us to make, we have to be willing to step outside of our comfort and into our calling. No more looking back, no more holding on to what was, but moving forward into the world as God has called us to do. And I'm John Lakin, the John Lakin, and this is your motivational moment.
Welcome to John Lakin and Friends. I am super excited because today I got somebody real smart with me. I mean, not just real smart. I'm talking about an intellectual, an incredible leader. He's also a former superintendent of Richland School District 2. He is my big brother, and I'm super proud to have the Dr. Baron Davis on the set. How are you doing today, my brother?
Well, I'm doing well, John. Man, appreciate you having me here, man.
Super excited to have you. So first off, let's jump in from the beginning. Who is Baron Davis? Tell us a little bit about where you're from.
So that's a great question, man. I get asked that a lot, and I always refer to myself as I'm still that same little fat kid from Alabama Court, Saxon Homes. Being a hometown kid and growing up here in Columbia, I grew up in the housing projects here in Columbia, Alabama Court, and Saxon Homes, and Fairfair Arms, and so I still have a lot of those same values that I learned. Wow. One of the things I share often about that experience is that I want people to realize is that during that time of period that I was growing up, I was economically poor, but I was community rich.
Come on.
So
I like it. So
my community met all of my resources. So I have to say that because I don't want people to think, oh, your kid grew up in the projects, and it was like this, awful, distraught experience, and it wasn't like that. I mean, it was a different time. And I had a wonderful community who really embraced me and supported me and several of all of my friends. And so it is because of that community that I've been able to do and achieve a lot of the things that I've been able to do. So I always feel indebted to that and to them. And so I see myself as a dividends. And so I try to reinvest myself back into the community because of that.
I like it. I like it.
No doubt.
And see, the thing is, what people don't understand is when you're in situations that may look limited like that, you have lifelong friendships and your friends become your family and you grow up and you learn life together. And even though you have the same set of opportunities, sometimes the outcomes may be different. But it also shows you that the education that you got, even in the project situation like that, it certainly equipped you to do great things and to come to where. So where did you matriculate to college after high school?
So I graduated from C.A. Johnson High School, class of 1990. Shout out to C.A. Johnson and my Hornet family. I've spent a year at Gardner Webb attempting to be a student athlete, play football. That didn't quite work out. Had some difficulties transitioning from one community to that particular institution, but a great school nonetheless. And then ended up going to Francis Marion University and graduated from Francis Marion in 1995. And then I spent the next several years at the University of South Carolina working on my master's and EDS and then PhDs.
Wow, that's powerful. And what'd you get your undergrad in?
So undergrad is in sociology.
Okay, the study of people.
Study of people.
People are crazy.
Understanding people and society and communities. I'm a big community person. Community is really important for me. I try to strengthen the community. I think, like I said earlier, there might have been some folk in my community that didn't necessarily take the right pathway, but I think my community collectively raised all of the children and within that housing projects. And so whether a mom could be proud of my accomplishments and my grandmother could be proud of one of my friends' accomplishments because they all had a hand in that.
Yeah. Okay. And so what was some of your, if you were to think back to that time in your life, what were some of your most famous quotes that you could pick up from that time in your life? like if you were to hear your mother in your head from back in the day, what would be that thing ringing in your head that stuck with you all of these years?
Well, my grandmother would always tell me a man always had to choose a side and stand and stand on the side. Like you couldn't straddle the fence, right?
You got to pull your feet together.
You couldn't straddle the fence, and so that's something. My uncle would always instill in me that I should always walk with my head up, and my back straight. My grandmother would tell me to always to stand firm and always be on guard. Be on guard and stand firm and do everything in love. I think that was from 1 Corinthians chapter 16, verse 13 and 14.
Being a black man in leadership, how do you navigate the challenges that you experience? And I would say balance the culture of not just how things were back in the day, but how things are moving progressively, because there's a lot of systemic challenges that we see that we have to navigate through with integrity and with class. How did you prepare yourself? And I would even take it a little further. How did your faith prepare you for the challenges that you would see as a black man in leadership?
I think leading or starting there at the end, I think is how I was prepared. I from the very beginning in my leadership role, really didn't know who I was as a leader, right? And so I was learning and I was mimicking a lot of different leadership styles. So there's some pivotal moments in my leadership that really shaped who I was. One, I call the first one was my exodus moment. The exodus moment is when I stepped out of trying to be someone else and was delivered from that into being who and what the purpose God had. The purpose God had for my life, understanding that and stop relying on myself as this was me that was doing this. And when I was in that role, I was a disciplinarian. I was suspending kids from school, and not really being true to the fundamental purpose of what an educator was supposed to be about, right? I was trying to impress
That's powerful.
Other people.
Yeah, and there are a lot of teachers and leaders in the education system who are trying to find their way, and I don't even know if you know this. I'm a teacher. I used to teach music in Florence 4. Actually, you gave the commencement speech or a speech at our school in Timminsville. Shout out to my Timminsville babies. But what I was going to say is you figure out that you win more with honey than you do as an iron fist. And I want to touch on that because when you were making that change from what you were saying, like finding your purpose and finding the authentic and the organic you that God was really preparing you with purpose, when did it click to you, I'm sent here on assignment, that there's something that I'm supposed to help birth in these young people?
Multiple stages of my career is when it's slow. It's a slow process, right?
Yeah.
And you start recognizing that these assignments that you've been given, you didn't even ask for them. Like some of the jobs that I've had, I didn't even apply.
Wow.
For some of these jobs. So the opportunities just kind of came. And then there were these things, these whispers. I think Oprah talked about these whispers from God. And I remember sitting in church one Sunday when I was transitioning from one school district to another, and I asked for an opportunity to be superintendent at Spring Valley High School at the time. And I was like, God, just give me a sign if this is something that is your will
My God.
And so that comes from, of course, from meditation and studying and trying to be the best version of the Christian man that I could possibly be.
Wow.
And then here comes a student, a former student from when I was an assistant principal at Spring Valley back in the early 2000s, who sits in the pew before me, in front of me. And I hadn't seen the student in years.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, that can't be it. Nah, there's no way it's that simple, right?
Yeah.
And so I go out and then I go to the bookstore and I run into several students who are at the bookstore, Barnes & Noble's, buying books, and they got Spring Valley lanyards on. And I was like, man, like, is this, because I'm going to be the first African-American superintendent in the history of the school, right? So I was like, there's no way. But sure enough, the opportunity presented itself. And then every opportunity from that, God has just kind of elevated me to the more I aligned myself and understood what my purpose was, the more authentic and genuine I was, the more I could push down those fears and concerns about what other people may think about what my purpose was, which was to identify and work to remove systemic practices that prevented students from having equitable learning experiences.
Yes, sir.
That's who I am. That's what I do.
Come on.
There's no stepping around that.
Yes.
I wasn't nearly as successful at anything else that I've done in life as I have been in education. That success is to the glory of God.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so being able to be comfortable saying that I am a man of God and I'm flawed and fallible just like everyone else. I'm not perfect. But I have incorporated some of those things into my way of leading my teams. And it was God that got me through COVID. And leading it through COVID. That was one of the hardest things ever, is leading through COVID.
John Lakin and Friends will be having a Black History celebration at Harbison Theater Saturday, February 18th. You do not want to miss it. We're going to have some incredible artists from right here in the greater Columbia area, as well as the John Lakin and Friends choir will be coming together to lift up the songs that will celebrate how God brought us over. Listen, you do not want to miss it. Get your tickets at harbisontheater.org. John Lakin and Friends, we cannot wait to praise God with you. What was the most difficult part of navigating COVID-19 and the pandemic as a superintendent? Because people are not always aware of how vast the responsibility of superintendent is.
Without question, the most difficult task in navigating that was the competing interests of all the partners that make up the school district. So what I mean about that, there was a need. Students had a need. Parents had a need.
Yes.
Teachers had a need.
Yes.
And the community and businesses had a need.
Yes.
And everybody wanted their needs met right now. Right? And it was for the first time in my career in education where people were like, yeah, I know what they need, but I'm not concerned about that right now. I need you to take care of me. I need this. And so we had competing needs that was going on almost daily, whether kids need to be back in school, the pressures you got from that were involved in the politics of masking.
Yes.
When you was going to go back to school, constantly looking at the numbers of infections and people pressuring you to do what they wanted you to do all the time. And it got to the point that it was it was a big challenge. And I remember one morning as I was kind of meditating and thinking about this, and I went to I think it was in the book of Numbers. And I've told this story before, and I shared it with my staff, with my team. I said I think Moses was leading the children of Israel out of Egypt. And they were complaining the whole way.
Yeah. They
were leaving bondage.
Come on.
And complaining the whole way.
The whole way.
And it's like, hey, we should have stayed in Egypt.
That's
if you're gonna have us out here in this wilderness,
come on,
eating this stuff, we could be, at least when we were in Egypt, we had something to eat, So we out here, and he asked God, why'd you burden me with these people? Like, why'd you give this responsibility to me? And I remember asking God that, like, why do I have this responsibility?
Come on.
This is a big responsibility. And I think God told Moses to go get 70 people.
Come on.
And he was going to anoint those 70 people.
Wow.
To help Moses govern, to do the work. And so I realized that was my answer. My answer was, you're doing too much.
Delegate.
You need to get people to help you do this work.
On.
Stop trying to figure it out all by yourself. Stop trying to carry this weight all by yourself. I'm praying for not a lighter load, but a stronger back and a stiffer neck. And God's like, this load I'm giving you, I need you to get other people to help you do this.
Yes.
And that was kind of again, I call these things for me, for me, it's a kind of this awareness is so central to my leadership.
Yeah.
It was an exodus.
Wow.
Right? I had all these exodus moments in my career. That was an exodus moment. And I never went back to that. That was a deliverance. Because an exodus is a deliverance, right?
Yes, sir.
So that was a deliverance and I learned how to lead better as a result of that.
And I was going to say, that nugget that you just dropped is relevant to pastors, to teachers, to leaders, to business owners. That God often will send you the very help that you need, but the situation will let you know that is too big for you. And sometimes that's the reason why God lets us come up on the problems that we do, to show us that the problem is too big for us, but it's just right for God.
It's just right. Right.
And so with you leading as superintendent, and coming through with the incredible accolades that you've seen, the national acclaim that you've seen, and then on a home front level, dealing with teams and personalities that were a little different. How did you navigate trying to have a vision and push a vision forward, but having discord within the team? And how did you work to pull the team together in order to accomplish some of the things that you accomplished? And I'm asking this question, primarily for leaders who are trying to rally the people that are working with them, but may be experiencing difficulty.
I think I had a very democratic approach to leadership and building teams. Like I hired tough. So I always say, if you hire tough, then you don't lose people.
Now, when you explain hire tough.
So I take my time and I try to find the very best person I can possibly find that's going to fit, not only with my team, but has an exceptional gift and skill set at what they're doing.
Come on.
Right? And so when I do that and I get them in place, I empower them to run their shop.
Yeah.
Now, that's not something that everybody does, and that's not something that everybody's fond of, but it works for me and it works for my team, because if I'm going to hire you or I'm going to bring you onto my team to serve in a certain role, I trust you to be the very best and trust the fact that you want to be the very best, but you also have the very best in mind for the people that we're serving, which is teachers and students and the community. And so I would meet with them on a weekly basis in a formal setting. We met a lot informally. But when we had real huge problems to solve, I brought the team in and I used the collective knowledge and insight of the entire team to help help us with that problem. And we stay solution focused. So I never want to go into the meeting and I understand that we're in here for a solution. Yes. Because you can spend a whole bunch of time talking about the problem.
Energy. Oh my God.
Right? So what's the solution?
Yes.
Now, sometimes you don't want to do it because the solution can be very obvious at times, but it may not be popular.
Come on.
The solution can be very obvious, but it might not be popular.
Yes.
So you want to bring in the team and get this, get a really 360-degree kind of insight on how to resolve this problem and how quickly you can get it resolved.
Yeah.
That empowers your team. That also generates or creates a sense of loyalty and support, not only for you as the leader, you for them, and then us one another. And that has been, I think, a success in my leadership. I've had some great teams over my career.
Wow.
From every location I've been, particularly as a principal, whether it was Edisto High School, Alcorn Middle School, Spring Valley, and even at the district office in Richland 2 as superintendent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Dr. Davis, it has been absolutely incredible having you here. This has been an incredible conversation. And I want to let you know that the community supports you. We're so proud of what you're doing. And wherever God is leading you next, I know that it's going to be a place of light and love and that you're going to represent us well. We thank you for your leadership. And let me tell you, Black representation in places and spaces of leadership are powerful because they show young Black men, I can do what you do. You know, they show the young students that are coming up that there's nothing that's out of reach for me. So I want you to take a moment. You can just look in this camera right here. I want you to encourage somebody who is following their passion and their vision, and they're now walking it out by faith. You know, it's scary when you're walking by faith and you don't necessarily have the fullness of those answers, but you know God is calling you to something greater. Just share with them from your heart something that your faith would say in this moment that would keep you encouraged.
Oh, wow, it's great. I would simply say this. It's three things, and I call them ACT, A-C-T, is this. Authenticity is important. Be authentically yourself. Everybody's designed to fully self-actualize, and God intends for us to be the best versions of ourselves, the version that He wants us to be that's aligned to His will. Understand and try to figure out what that version of you is, and understand that it is not fixed and finite. It evolves as situations and age and experience. That version of you does evolve, so you don't have to be fixed in one way. God doesn't want you planted and fixed in one way. So be authentically yourself. The second thing is always be courageous. If God is on your side,
yes, sir,
then just trust. I think faith lies. Courageousness lies in faith. As strong as your faith is, the more courageous you'll be.
Come on.
So if you have a strong faith and you're willing to take the risk, the chances to do the things that are the important things, the right things to do, that are aligned with His will, that you know you're supposed to do, but stand firm and be courageous in your works. And then always lean on the truth.
Come on.
The truth will never, ever, ever let you go the wrong way. Be and lean on the truth. Be truthful to yourself, be truthful to others, and use the word as your truth. And do those things as a leader, as an individual, and I am confident that you will have not only all the success that your heart, to your heart's content, but you'll be pleasing to God by doing those things, and you'll continue to be blessed. So, the more responsible you are, the more you'll get.
Wow, wow. Dr. Davis, we're so honored to have had you on John Lakin and Friends.
Yeah.
There's so much more to come after this.
Good morning, everybody. My name's John Lakin. I just wanted to ask y'all to go subscribe to my Uncle John's YouTube channel, hit that notification bell so y'all can get notified whenever a video is posted. And also, make sure you visit his website at www.johnlakin.com. My name's John Lakin, and I'm here with John Lakin and Friends. Indeed.
Welcome back to John Lakin and Friends. We're about to get out of here, but before we do, I got a few people I got to shout out. Mama Mosey, I want to wish you a happy birthday, Miss Mosetta. I also want to wish, I got to send love to my supporter, Miss Riley, and I want to send a special blessing to her new baby brother. And remember, February 18th, we have an incredible show lined up for you at Harbison Theater. Lift every voice and sing. We will be singing songs that brought us over. A beautiful concert with the Mickens, with Jarrell Smalls and company, Regina Skeeters and Miss Jean Blaine Skeeters. We also have the artist herself, Valencia Goodwin. She's going to be in the house. I'm telling you, it's going to be a wonderful time. Get your tickets at harbisontheater.org. The tickets are going fast, so please go and get them. We want you to be in the room with us. Those of you that are surviving the struggle, remember God will get in it with you. Have an incredible Sunday.